So my name is Kate Markovitz. I am an executive director with Beauty Counter and full-time mom. I don't even know what I do anymore. I'm not even sure how to describe it. Um, but I have always loved makeup. It has been something that has me and my mom did makeovers together. I tortured my sister into doing makeovers all the time, poking her in the eye with mascara wands when I had no idea what I was doing. Um, and it's just been something that I've always really enjoyed. It's like therapeutic to me. I do have kind of like that creative brain, so it's like a form of art in a way. And I was sharing today on my story that it's one of the things that truly helped me get out of postpartum anxiety when I was really struggling with my daughter. It was just something that I was doing for me. It made me feel put together and polished, and like I had gotten myself ready for the day. So it can really be a form of self-care, self-love. I really want to start talking about that a little bit more and sharing that on my Instagram and everything. So today I just wanted to do like a really basic, hopefully you learned something from this call for just like basic makeup tips, nothing super fancy. So it's not going to be like, here's your makeup or your eyeshadow palette. We're going to learn how to create like a rainbow eye or something. This is basically going to be like focusing on your face. How can you get some application techniques? So it's not just like, this is the formula that you have to use. It is more, if you have this type of foundation, here are some ways. I especially get questions a lot on Instagram of things like, oh, mine doesn't apply the way that you're doing it. And so like I'm constantly giving these little tips and tweaks to people. And I was like, I need to just do like one big video about all of this. And so we're just going to start. Really, one of the things that or I should share a little bit more about my training, if you want to call it that. I'm not a professional makeup artist. I have done like some weddings and things like that just because I love doing makeup. I did this. This is going to be super embarrassing. I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth. But in high school, oh, Katie, you're on here. You might remember this. We were on a band trip, and I did like all of the girls in the band's like makeup before our like big night out. Everybody was just coming and getting their makeup done because it's just something I've always loved to do. I did take Bobbi Brown's like master makeup course, master class. I've taken some trainings in person. If you're local to Pittsburgh, our community college offered like a makeup basics course. It's a goal of mine one day to like teach that class at like a little kind of like 6-week type of thing. I think that'd be really super fun. Anyway, let's actually get into it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is really decluttering your makeup. I think one of the reasons a lot of us, like I see people when they're showing like their bathroom or their makeup bag, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff. Like if you just wanted to do your makeup really quick, you're like sifting through all of these things to try to find your makeup. And so if you come up with some like a simple streamed like makeup where it's kind of like your closet, right? If you like everything in your closet or you can like and use everything that you have in your makeup kit, you're going to want to reach for it more often. You're going to be excited to use your makeup. And so that can happen a couple ways. I have like a bag where it's like, this is my everyday makeup, which is what I'm going to show you today. And then I have a little basket. I actually brought it down here like this. And that's where I keep, all of my lip colors or everything else. And I'll swap things in and out. I get a little bit bored. I like sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling like a warm palette. I have my warm palette on today. So I'll get my warm shades, or maybe I'm into like the cooler shades, but I just like to switch it up. For a lot of people, like it's just really interesting having done this for so many years. Some people like find the colors they like, and those are the colors that they have, and they don't have any more than that. So I can't do that. So what I do is I have like my stash that's hidden away, and then my neatly organized little bag that I use on a day-to-day basis. So things that you want to toss, I don't usually go away from brownish colors. Yeah. I mean, if like there are definitely makeup artists out there that will say, you have to find your undertones and you have to match exactly. Like when I go and get my makeup done, most of the time they put like purple shades on me. When I do purple and pink myself at home, I feel like I look like a corpse. I don't know. It's just like, I like to put more of the warmer shades on me. So you could go and get consultations to say, what color should I wear? And I'll give you some of those tips today of how to find out what your natural colors are. But don't be afraid to play with any color. You know, there are some shades where I put it on, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to go back on my face. I don't like that on me. And of course, that's going to happen. But I think it's part of makeup is that it's fun, right? It doesn't have to be like you're locked into these certain shades all the time unless you really like them. Yeah, I like that you add the purple. If you look at a color wheel, this is just something from like the art class. You can look at a color wheel and see like what are complementary colors, what are colors right next to each other, and that can help you figure out what colors to put on. For me, I have green eyes, so right across green on a color wheel is red. So like oranges and red can kind of help bring out it's like a complementary color. We're not going to get into all that. That's like super in depth. That's something I think that like just even going to like Mac or someone to talk to them about colors that will look good on you. I have done that so many times in my life for fun. So here's how to declutter your makeup. Anything you've had for 2 years or longer, toss it. It's starting to grow bacteria. It's just not going to be, the formula is not performing the way that it did when you opened that product. That is one thing that, I mean, myself included, I was out of college and using some of the makeup that I had from high school. That is not what we should be doing. 2 years or older, toss it. Colors that have gone off or don't necessarily look right on you anymore. So that can happen because maybe the formula is not good anymore. The color's kind of fading. It's like spices, even in your kitchen. Sometimes things are not quite as spicy the longer that you have them open. Same thing's going to happen with makeup products. Does that go for everything? Eyeshadow too. I will share, I'm going to actually get into expirations about everything because I think that's something to talk about. There are ways to keep things like cleaner so that they can last longer, but 2 years is usually the longest that you should have something, including powders. So any makeup that has liquid formula that starts to like separate, or you have to like really, really shake unless it was designed that way, that's got to go. Anything that has broken packaging, most of the time you're not using it and you're just sifting through that, right? Like in your little bag. So get rid of those. Brushes, puffs, or sponges that are like dirty or falling apart, either clean them. If they can't get clean, toss them. A lot of these things they can be pricey or an investment up front. They will last you for a long time if you get a good quality one. But those ones, you can even go to the dollar store and get some of these items and then don't feel bad about it if it's in 3-6 months and it's fallen apart and you need to get rid of it. Yes, throwing things away as we speak. I love that. Yes, just get rid of it. Truly, like, you feel so much better. It's my closet. Like I'm talking to myself. Kate, throw away the things you don't like to wear. Throw away the makeup that you just pass by every time, but you spent money on it and you feel like you have to keep it in there. You don't have to keep it in there. I'm giving you permission. Just get rid of it. Okay. So let's talk about expiration. So almost every single product is going to come in type of packaging, and there's a little container that looks like it's like opening, and it'll have a number with the letter M next to it. And that will tell you how long that product's going to last from the time that you open it. So it's not like from the time you purchase it, it's from the time that you actually open it. So like 3M would mean 3 months. That could be something like mascara, 6M, 6 months, 12 months. And you usually won't see anything with more than 24 months because like we said, 2 years. So I'm going to run through a list of makeup products, and this is about how long they will last. Of course, there could be some differences. You guys probably know me that I'm really into clean beauty. So clean beauty doesn't necessarily have all the preservatives in it. So sometimes it might be a little bit less, right? Got to keep that kind of stuff in mind. I like this tip too from Brittany. I write when I open my skincare. Do that for your makeup too. Yep, just jot it on the bottom of your, I actually don't do it on my makeup, and I should do that on my makeup too. I hear you. I'm just like, until the mascara is like dried and flaking into my eyeball is like how long I usually keep mine. But I can tell you it's probably not the cleanest thing by the time I'm throwing it away. All right, Kate, keep going. Foundation, 1 year if it's water-based, slightly longer if it's an oil-based formula. So you'll know if it's water-based, it's gonna have some type of preservatives in it. If you have water in a product, does not matter what product it is, you have to have preservative in it so that bacteria, mold, things can't start growing in it, okay? And remember, you can always look on the packaging or look online to see these things. Sunscreen is also 1 year. So you can write like your date on that one. If you have like beauty counters, it'll have the little expiration up at the top of when that formula. And really, so like I was kind of a believer of, oh, it doesn't really matter what the expiration is for sunscreen, especially. But what happens is those formulas do start to separate, so they don't protect you against the sun as much as it says on the bottle. So those ones are important to pay attention to what your expiration is. And if you're a beauty counter user and you have the dew skin with the SPF, that's another thing to really keep in mind, right? So 1 year for things with SPF in them for that ultimate sun protection. Lipstick, 1 to 2 years. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing because pretty much everything that's in this bottle is definitely over that. So 1 to 2 years for your lipstick. Lip gloss is actually 6 months to 1 year. And if you really think about it, like when you're putting your lip gloss on, right, it's coming out, you're slathering it all over on the applicator and putting that back in. So like, hello bacteria, into the bottle you're going. So in a way, it kind of makes sense. I was like, oh no, oh yeah, I think that I can understand that one. Yeah, the throwaway a lipstick from your wedding 5 years ago, let's say this, replace it. If you really still love the color, maybe just replace it with a new tube at this point. Yeah, this pandemic has almost been a year. I can let my gloss go. You know, I have to say, I was thinking about that with the pandemic stuff because I'm like, can we just all subtract a year off our powders? Because, like, how many times have I used my powders this year? I'm gonna give it a good alcohol squirt and I'm gonna like go on and see if anything happens. Let me get through the expirations and then I'll talk about that a little bit. Mascara is 3 to 6 months. It does start to change texture. Sometimes it could start to smell. Like I mentioned, it'll start flaking into your eye. So mascara is one again that will start to separate and not perform the way that it should. So if you find that when your mascara is not performing, that's a time to really replace it. Powder makeup's 2 years. That's a hard one to say because I know that for me personally, I don't go through my powder makeup that quickly. So one of the tricks that I did learn in one of the makeup classes is that you can create a formula of like alcohol. I forget the percentage if it was like 91 or 93%. But it's like basically what professional makeup artists do when they're taking their kit around to clean, putting it on several people, is give a good squirt, like every couple, maybe every week or so often, once a month, just to keep that bacteria from growing, because that's really what we're talking about here. And then also powders could start to change colors, not perform. I remember I had a friend who used to wear like powder foundation and like hers would almost start to turn green when it was like not good anymore. Interesting. But cream and liquid makeup is about 6 months to 1 year. So there's a pretty big difference there. So definitely check the packaging. Liquid liner, 3 to 6 months. So it's about the same as mascara. And again, eyeballs can have a lot of bacteria and you don't want to be putting bacteria near your eye. That's a big thing too. So that's why it's a little bit less. And then like pencils, gels, eyeliners are about 1 year. And one tip that I learned about any type of pencils is to sharpen it pretty frequently and just like peel off the layer of bacteria that could be on the outside. So like just one little twist and keep that pretty clean. Liquid liner for 2 years because I hardly ever use it. Yeah, I'm guilty of that too. Because you like just bring it out every once in a while. You're like, oh, I want some liquid liner this week. And you're like, oh, this is from like 2015. Oops. How did that happen? I hear ya. So the big things that I look for, if my face starts to just like act weird when I'm wearing makeup, I'll be like, do my brushes need cleaned? Do I need to get a new mascara? Like If there's things that start happening where I'm like, I can't pinpoint why that's happening. Let's say you're getting like styes by your eyes are getting dry, like any type of weird thing, and you're wearing maybe more makeup or you're wearing makeup consistently, that's kind of a time to take inventory and be like, is there anything that I might need to get rid of, clean up, that type of thing. Make sense? Yeah, cool. Okay, so that was a lot about expiration. Didn't quite mean to talk that long. Who knew I cared about bacteria that much? Truly keep a limited amount of makeup that I love and I will use before it goes bad. Yeah, honestly, that's one of the things that really helped me. If I go way back in my Instagram, like I did a clean out where I was like, you know, this is high school. This like thing, I had things for so long. And then I was wondering why my face was like peeling and falling apart when I put makeup on. And it really is, if you do this kind of like with your makeup, I think you'll find, oh my gosh, the baby, I can't help it. I'm staring. No, she's so cute. Yeah, this is a great thing to do on the weekend. You'll want to do it in your closet. Then you're gonna go into like your kitchen. You just start getting rid of things because you're like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to only have things that I use and love. Like it really makes doing your makeup, the whole experience, a lot better. All right, next up are tools. So does anybody, you can use the chat, do you guys use your tools? Because on tools for makeup, meaning like brushes, sponges, anything like that, because I did blenders, yes. I did a poll on my Instagram and like for the first like 3 hours, it was like 100% fingers. I was like, really? Nobody else out there uses like any brushes of any kind? That's interesting. Yes, for eyeshadow, not for anything else. Yeah, so actually fingers are a really good tool for makeup. So I am not like bashing fingers at all, especially when it comes to foundation and concealer. We can talk about that a little bit, but I definitely love blenders. I have always loved sponges. I have lots of brushes. I find them hard to remember to clean. So that's why I actually like to use my fingers too, because you can quickly wash your hands right before and you know you've got a clean brush, so to speak. Yeah, fingers except for eyeshadow. So I'm hearing that a lot, fingers except for eyeshadow. The one that I will say, oops, somebody's trying to pop in. One brush I will say I absolutely love is this angled blush brush. So do you guys use your fingers for blush or do you not wear blush? I don't know how to use most of the tools out there. I think that that's like super, super common. Oh, there's a blush brush. Yeah, I like that. Anything like angled like this for blush or highlighter, I really, really like. I'll just show you some other quick examples of some other brushes that you might like. So this one is a Makeup Geek foundation brush. So it's like flat on top. I actually really like this for putting on foundation if you want more coverage. So if you are struggling with coverage with foundation and you're using your fingers right now, get a brush. A brush is going to give you fuller coverage. All right. So this is an option for foundation brush. And this is what I call my spoon brush. I apologize. I have no idea what these things are called. Does anybody know what these ones are called? What if you haven't used the jellies yet? The months from open. For the jellies, I would say that's probably similar to like lipstick because you're not putting an applicator back in. So what was lipstick? Was that like 1 to 2 years? So that's what I would say from the time you open. So this is a really great brush for foundation. This is Beauty Counter. I don't even know if we still sell this one. I actually really like to put the mask on. You can see how thin that is from the side. We still do have this one. Things I should know. But this is really great to put on foundation if you want more color. And you can find any brushes pretty much in any price range. I got this one on clearance at Sally's for like $2 or $3, and it's one of my favorite brushes. You know, Beauty Counter brushes, super expensive, but they are super soft and they don't have like the little bristles come out at the ends. I have bought some, what is this? This is an e.l.f. bronzing brush. Really like this brush. Again, it's kind of that like angled, which I think really makes control when you're doing your cheeks. So my whole point here is that I guess it's similar to like if you had painting as a hobby. You can get the really expensive brushes, but if you don't know how to use them, it's really not going to make your experience putting on your makeup any better. If you like how your makeup goes on using your fingers, totally use your fingers. But I do think having, like, if I were to say, okay, what should you get? I really like to have a sponge of some sort. I will say I like Beauty Counter's new Better blender. Oh no, it's a tongue twister. And then I really like the angled brush, and then I like having multiple eyeshadow brushes. That's probably what I have the most of. Okay, so I'll talk about this when I do the foundation. I pre-wet this one, so this one is damp. This is the actual size. So yes, it is gigantic whenever you get it damp. I know it's like as big as my face. That's funny. So do I use a brush for cream and liquid foundation too? Totally can. What I'll show you, I can use a brush when I put on my foundation and when I talk about some tips there. It's still bigger than the blenders. I got a blender from my mother-in-law for Christmas, and it's smaller than even just like when this is dry. What I like about the Beauty Counter blender is that it's soft. Like the other ones tend to be really hard even when you get them damp, which is fine. I guess I'm just delicate. I just like the softer touch. Okay, anything else that I wanted to say there? I will, just that the Beauty Counter brushes, like I said, they're super soft. They're also animal hair free, which is really nice. And I did mention this, but they come all the way to the tip. So you don't have to worry about like the short ones falling out, which drives me nuts. Oh, here's one. I bought like a set of these on Amazon to just kind of compare. The glue off of all of these fell off almost within a year. I like how this one blends for me, but I was like, that wasn't worth the money because I already have to go get new ones, within the year. Extra things you can get: eyelash curlers. I'll talk about some tips even if you don't have an eyelash curler. Tweezers, I consider that part of my makeup kit because you can use them for a lot of different things. Sometimes I'll use them to like separate my eyelashes if I have some that are like being really annoying and sticking together. And then like any type of Q-tip or cotton swab. Of course, I didn't bring those down with me. But you can use those in a lot of different ways when you're doing your makeup too. Even if you don't have an eyeshadow brush, you can use Q-tips just as easily. Okay, now, am I talking too fast or is this too much? You all good? Okay. Sometimes I give a little too much information. All right, so prepping your skin. This is actually like one of the most important parts of makeup is really your skincare. So no matter how good a painter is, their canvas has to be properly prepared in order to do their best work. So like, I like watercolor. Like you have to wet the paper with water. If I just started watercoloring on the dry paper, it is going to be a different experience. It's not going to go as well, right? So the same is true for your makeup and your skin. You want to make sure that you are prepping your skin in two different ways. Number one is your full skincare routine. Our goal is to try to get normal, balanced skin. So if you have dry skin right now, you want to try to add hydration to your skin. If you have oily skin, you're trying to get more balance and control of that oil. And you also should be prepping your skin before you put your makeup on. Now, for some of you, if you like do your full routine all together at one time in the morning, that it might be happening at the same time, right? For someone like me, I usually do my makeup at like 10 a.m. I don't know why. I like to have like my naked face for a while, and then I like to put on my makeup. So I do need to like re-prep my skin. Or let's say, it's a weekend and you're going to dinner, so you washed your face in the morning, you want to prep your skin again before you put on your makeup that evening. And an appropriate way to prep your skin is to have a moisturizer that's appropriate for your skin. So if you have dry skin, adding something a little moisturizing, oily skin, you might want like an oil-free or a matte type of moisturizer. You can use facial oils. I like to use the brightening oil if I use a face oil. And then you do want to be putting on some type of SPF. I do like Beauty Counter's, what do we call this? Daily Sheer Defense. This is a really good one because it acts like a moisturizer. There have been a lot of like face moisturizers I've tried in the past that get kind of like cakey or weird. So don't forget to do that, especially in the morning. So one of my favorites too, even though I have like dry skin, is I like the Adaptive Moisture Lotion if I've already put on like my daily moisturizer, because this one does adapt throughout the day. So I feel like that's a nice option to put on right before you're doing your makeup. The other thing that you want to put on, so I'm going to go ahead and just put this on while we're talking, is an eye cream. How many of you put on eye cream before you do your makeup? So if you think about it, you want to have a nice, right? I feel like that's like one of the most common questions I get. I'm in my 30s. I have a lot of clients around my age. And so they're being like, oh, I have, wrinkles around my eyes now, help. And a lot of people will put on their eye cream like at night, but you want to put it on in the morning if you are going to be putting on your makeup. And again, if you're waiting some time, plump up that area again, right? Get it nice and hydrated before you put on any type of concealer so it doesn't look dry and flaky or it doesn't settle into any type of fine lines. Should you still be using Daily Sheer on entire face if you're wearing mask all day at work? Wait, should you still be using how much are you outside? I think that probably depends, right? I would still probably put it on for some type of protection. Oh, these masks, I'll tell you what, they rip my skin apart, but I would probably put it on if it were me. But I don't know that I know if there's like, you should or shouldn't. Does that make sense? All right. Oh, my tea is cold now. That's a bummer. Okay. Foundation. Any questions about anything that I've said so far? Yes, that's true. Yeah, the Beauty Counter ones has the UVA, UVB, and then blue light protection. So it can help you with exposure from all the lights, computers, screens everywhere, right? Okay, foundation. So we have liquid, you have powder. Sometimes you might like to switch just based on the season, depending on your skin type. The one thing I will say is that I personally think that any type of matte foundation is going to make your skin look like dehydrated and stiff. I know some people maybe don't love like a dewy glow, but I think that if you use some type of liquid foundation and you can add a powder, like a translucent powder to it to knock down the shine and to make it not look so dewy, I think that is a good way to go versus just getting like a matte foundation. Some people will get like a matte primer or something like that. I think it's a preference on what you like it to look like. But if you notice that your face is kind of looking like really stiff when you have the makeup on, maybe try to adjust like how you're achieving that look. Not that you can't have a matte look, but how do you achieve it? So here's a question. Countertime eye cream seems to pill when rubbed. Is this eye cream appropriate under concealer? So if it's pilling when you're rubbing it in, it could be that you're using too much or that something that you have like on your face maybe hasn't dried all the way. So if you're like putting the serum on before and then you're putting your eye cream on, it might be like interacting with that and then creating that pilling effect. So let the serum completely soak in so it's not like tacky when you touch your face, and then put the eye cream on. And then also try to use less and see if that would help. Of course, I didn't bring my eye cream. I'm a great example of this. Okay. Okay, so with Beauty Counter, we have the two options. We have Dew Skin, which is a tinted moisturizer with SPF. This is my preference, especially in the summertime, because then I don't have to worry about putting on SPF. It's also more of a sheer coverage. So if you don't have things that you're really worried about like covering per se, The Dew Skin is really nice. This is also what I wear just like day to day, especially if I'm just doing my makeup and I'm staying at home. And then we have Skin Twin Foundation, which is more coverage, it's buildable, it has hyaluronic acid in it, which is known for plumping and holding in moisture. So it has a skincare element to it, which is really cool, especially if you use it over time. So let's talk about color. And if you have your foundation, you might want to do this like with me to make sure that you have the right color. So what you can do is you want to make sure that it blends in seamlessly with your skin. So I'm just going to do like a little pump here. I don't know if I'm really close enough. And what you're going to do is you're going to blend it into your cheek. Just kind of like not, you don't have to rub it in totally, but it just kind of you want it to disappear into your skin. So if it's the wrong color, let me see if I have this one's 340. What I just put on was 210, which might be a slightly too light for me right now. Now that I'm like looking at it, I'm like, great, that's the color I've been wearing. Here's 340. So you can see how it's showing up on my skin, maybe. Can you? I don't know. Maybe my light's too bright. But that's how you want to test the color, is test it on your cheek and test it like down into your neck. And it should kind of just like disappear if it's the right color for you. Okay, so that can be really helpful. I personally change colors throughout the year, right? So I have different shades that I need, and I kind of like go in between. Do you have to have like the exact shade? I don't think so, but you don't want it to be like a visibly different color than what you actually are, right? Although it is interesting because in some other cultures, they actually like to have like a different shade. That's one thing that I learned in my makeup class, is to always ask. I mean, not that any of you are necessarily like makeup artists that are doing the makeup for anybody, but to ask like if someone wants their skin to appear more white or pale or darker, because some people do like that. I have a couple people too who buy shades darker to kind of have that like tan look. So depends. Maybe I'm gonna use, the one thing I like to, this is my 310 from like the summertime. I really like these bottles now that you can actually see how much you have left. So you're not like, okay, I just ran out of my foundation. So I think before, I have a bunch of redness. Should I go for a warm or neutral undertone? Do you have like any samples around you to try with either one? No, I would say to go with a neutral to kind of just try to like cover up the redness. Or if you can't get your hand on samples, to just try that test on you to see which one's going to cover and kind of neutralize the redness. The only reason, like beauty counters, I would say, like if you go to a lot of other brands, like they have like 55 shades of foundation. It personally overwhelms me. I'm like, I like don't really know. That's what I have, and I think I might need a lighter shade. Yeah, a lighter shade can help too. Are you putting it on right now? Yeah, put it on and let me see it. Okay, so I think did somebody ask me to put it on with a brush? Is that what I was gonna do? I'll be honest, I don't like Beauty Counter's retractable brush. I feel like every time I try to use it, I get lines on my face. Some people love it. I don't know if I just haven't mastered the application of it. I don't really know. So when I put on foundation, I like to put it kind of with my fingers all over my face. I'll show half of my face with the brush and then half with the beauty blender. How's that work? So with this type of foundation brush that is the flat one, I just kind of buff around in circles, because I don't like to have any type of like marks to show where I was putting. So I'm keeping it on my skin and I'm just buffing it around in a circle to spread it. I thought that my ring light would be a good idea, but I actually think it's just like blowing out my skin a bit. Okay, and that's gonna also keep it from having like any type of lines. And then I have a tip too with this later, if you do end up using a brush, that's really nice. Where's my massive blender? Here it is. All right, And if you have your blender, you want to make sure that it's damp. So get it completely wet, like soaking wet, squeeze out all the water into your sink, and now it's ready to use. And what I do with this one is I dab. So I'm just gonna dab it and place it onto my skin. One of the things that I think I see people doing that is not the best technique is like swiping it on. Someone just said that to me recently about the blender. They said, I feel like it's just moving the makeup. I was like, well, are you dabbing or are you swiping? Because if you swipe, it is gonna just like pull that makeup across your face, and you might even like see the line of it. So you don't apply the makeup to the blender. I do sometimes. I kind of do that I mean, just honestly, if I don't want my finger to get dirty. That's kind of the only reason why I do or I don't. Yeah, so you could totally just put one pump onto this, kind of like dab it around your face like I did at the beginning with my fingers, so it's spread all over, and then dab it. And there you go. Hopefully it looks even on each side now that I did it 2 different times. Let me see if there's anything else to do. Okay, one tip. This is not how I do it, but here is a tip, is you can concentrate most of the foundation in the center of your face and then blend it out. I guess I kind of do that because I put like a dab here on my nose, my chin, and then my cheeks, and then kind of blend it out. It's like a natural way to contour because you're going to have most of the concentration in the middle of your face. So that's one thing that you can do. And then if you have mature skin, it's really important how you pick your formula. You want to pick something that is buildable, not something that's going to be really heavy, because the heavy could just settle into the fine lines. Whereas when you put on the foundation, you can build in certain areas where you want to have more coverage. And then that also can be a little bit more hydrating.
I have a question about that, Kate.
Yeah.
No matter, with my powder foundation, no matter how little I use, I feel like it sort of like cakes and settles like in between my eyebrows and like.
Are you prepping your skin? Are you putting like
yeah,
anything?
It's like right after my morning skincare.
And what is your moisturizer? What kind of moisturizer do you use?
I'm using the Counter Time antioxidant cream.
Okay.
But I have very dry skin. Could it be a dry skin issue?
Yeah, that sounds like dry skin to me. What I would try to do is start adding a drop or two of facial oil to it, and then seeing if that helps kind of like protect the area a little bit more.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Anything else with foundation? Now you've got your like canvas prepped. Oh, it's so fun to see everybody like starting to just like slowly come together, right? I think your foundation looks nice. You still think you have some redness? No, I think it looks nice.
Okay. I just feel like
I think what you
sometimes
could do, if you feel like there's still some areas that are red, maybe just put a little bit more on those areas after it kind of settles a little bit. Yeah. All right, cool. Now let's go to concealer. So concealer is basically just a more concentrated form of foundation. It's going to give you more coverage. So I like to have 2 shades of concealer, even in my minimalist like makeup kit. I like to have 1 shade that I use for brightening and kind of making like, especially under my eye area. Although, did you guys hear that apparently there's like filters to give you like dark circles these days? Anybody else hear that? I'm like, my mind is boggled that like young girls, like teens, like are literally watching YouTubes on like how to do dark circle makeup. Like, have we made dark circles cool? Am I cool now? I don't know. My brain doesn't really comprehend. Anyway, or if you, and you might not need this if you don't have any type of imperfections, maybe you don't get breakouts, but I like to have one that matches my skin color for breakouts, for anything that I might want to cover. Like I mentioned before, masks just obliterate my skin. Like every time, I really only have to wear one like once a week. But then like Tuesday morning, I wake up, I'm like, hello, here we go, another spot. Like it drives me crazy. So I like to have 2 shades. I'll give you my shades just because it probably does help a little bit. So I could wear 210 or 310. And then I use Fair 2 for my brightener. I'm going through puberty right now. I hate it. Totally. I actually think my skin is worse now than it was when I was going through puberty. It actually is driving me crazy. Maybe it's because I like sew skincare and makeup for a living. I don't know. And then I use Light 1 to match my skin. Now, I will say I really like these formulas much better than the pen. So if you've tried Beauty Counter's pen in the past and you did not like it, I like this formula better. For expiration, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, this reminds me of a gloss, right? We're bringing it out, putting the bacteria on and putting it back in. So I would probably do the same expiration as a gloss. I don't think I said anything with type of concealer. I would think about how do you apply whatever the makeup product is when you're thinking about expirations for it. So first thing you want to do, make sure you have that eye cream so that area is nice and plump and hydrated. I do like using this Skin Twin because it does have so much hyaluronic acid in it. Sometimes I feel like I don't even really need concealer depending how well I'm sleeping that week. Thanks, Charlotte. So sometimes I can get away with not having to put more on. And it's nice that that does have that like plumping effect. So there are 1,000,001 ways to like put on concealer. I think you have to really find what you like best. I'll show you 2 different ways that I kind of like. I do not like horizontal swipes. I think horizontal swipes near the eye just means like you could be settling right into like any fine lines that you have around your eye. So I prefer vertical swipes. So you can do like vertical swipes kind of across, or some people will do like an inverted triangle. So kind of drawing like in like that. So those are 2 different ways. I don't know if you can see. So kind of like I did them kind of thick. So this is like an inverted triangle. All right, like Layla's, she has like lots of little lines there. What are you doing, Brittany? Who's doing it? I can see everybody. I love seeing techniques. Show me your techniques. All right, and so this is another reason why I like a big blender is because you can use this for your concealer. So you can take this like top little part here. Okay, Jean says, how do you pick your concealer color? I'll answer that in a second. And again, just dab. Now I do like to, you'll notice mine are not super close to my eyes because I like to dab it and pick up the color and then go up near my eyeball. So I don't put it directly where I might have fine lines. I'm like picking up the color down below and then moving it up to where I might have some fine lines or colors. If you want to, especially if you're not going to wear any type of eyeshadow, if you just want to look a little more awake, put the concealer on your eyelid too. If you're like me, I have like the most oily lids of any person that walks this planet. I don't typically do that because I will get a line. Or you could put just like a mattifying powder or something on your eyelid to kind of help that from happening. But know yourself better. If you've got some dry lids, you might be able to do that with your concealer. So I do the same technique even if I do the inverted triangle. I just pick up the color, then I move it up by my eye. You'll notice I do take it close into my nose. That's especially where I have like some darkness. And then I just tap it on my eyeball. And it almost looks like you do have some type of eyeshadow on if you do that 1 shade lighter. Sometimes, let's talk about color. So how do you pick your concealer color? You want to pick it based on your foundation color. So even if you don't use like your Beauty Counter, let's say Beauty Counter, because obviously that's what I know best. If you don't use Beauty Counter foundation, you still want to figure out like what shade would I use of Beauty Counter, because that's going to help you choose your concealer color. Now I will say the concealer is a favorite of my mom and my grandma. I have to place an order for both of them after this. My grandma ordered one in October and she said she doesn't want to run out with it. I was like, Grandma, it's a see-through container. you still have a full container, but she's making me order her another one anyway. So it is loved by all generations, which is I think really great for this formula. Especially considering like I didn't really even recommend the pen before unless somebody was getting a Flawless in 5 set. So it is a good option. And then one other tip here. So if you're going to be like wearing all of this makeup all day long, use your mattifying powder or some type of translucent powder to set it. So especially if you know that you tend to get oily, maybe you live somewhere with high humidity. If you have dry skin, maybe you don't want to do this. I don't typically have to set my face. Sometimes I'll just use bronzer and use like bronzer to set my cheeks or something, or kind of like up near my hairline, but you don't necessarily have to. It's telling me I need to stand up, which means that I've been talking a long time. So, okay, let's keep going here. Any questions about concealer? Did I answer that for you, Jean? Oh, there you are, Jean. I was like, where are you? Okay. Brows. So brows, you can have gel or pencils, right? So gel is really going to tame like unruly brows. So if you got like hairs that go kind of everywhere, maybe you sleep with your head like in a pillow like this, like I do, and it just wakes up and it's like, you never know what's gonna happen. Gel might be a good situation for you if you need to fill in your brows. So right now I don't have anything in my brows and you might be like, I can see little dots right here because I like don't have like 2/3 of my eyebrows. You might want to use a pencil so that you can actually draw in your eyebrows. Now the truth is most of us would probably be a combination of both. Like if you want to have a really nice brow, you're likely going to need both unless you're Brittany because like your brows already look amazing. Layla, you too, what the heck? Can some of you like give me some brows? This isn't fair. So if you are going to use a pencil, I like to use the spoolie part. I kind of bend mine so that it's on an angle. And I use that to just brush my brow first, get them a little under control, just like brushing your hair. Ideally, you should be lifting up from the middle of your arch. Can't really tell too much when I try to do it. Don't have a ton of brows. I find I like the gel because it gives me more without looking crazy. All right, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I can't do the gel. I cannot do it. Like, you probably won't see me doing it on Instagram because I just cannot. I use the invisible. That's how I'm like, invisible is my Spanx for my eyebrows. I draw them on and then I just use like a swipe of invisible. Yeah, isn't that funny? Because people, I think it's truly you are a pencil or you're a gel person. Yes, people love the gel. I literally cannot do it. Like, I actually feel like there's something wrong with me. Now, you want to draw pencil-like strokes, okay? This is the Kate Markovitz method. I don't know if I've seen any other makeup artists teach brows this way. This is how I do it. So I pull it up kind of where my top arch is. I draw downward strokes to draw in like the second half of my brow first. You can see there. Because I am heavier in the front. So for me, if I can like draw that in, then I don't start drawing where it's really heavy already. And I kind of just fill that part in. So then I'm just gonna fill in where I see that I need that extra. So technically your brow should start at like the tip of your eyeball or like the tip of your nose. Yeah, you see me poke myself in the eye. No big deal, lost an eyeball trying to do a makeup lesson, can't see, but it's fine. Okay, so there's like one brow. So just draw hair like so. Don't do like one across. Man, in college, there was a girl in one of my groups. She used to do that. I'm like, girlfriend, you got to draw more hair on that eyebrow. Let me help you. Although one time, so like when I got my makeup done one time in high school, just gonna tell you guys a little story because it's awkward enough like doing your makeup by yourself talking to like the screen. I went and got my makeup done. I think it was math. They told me I should be wearing a blonde pencil. Now, why did I take their advice? Like, first of all, why did you tell me that? But second of all, why did I buy the blonde and I was drawing them on, and one of my husband's friends in college like said to me like, "Did you draw on your eyebrows? Because it must have been like so blatantly obvious." I was scarred for life, but I have to draw on my eyebrows, so you know. Eyebrows weren't a thing, and it was banned. They're on the scene. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what happened with like the pencil drawing, like the one line. Maybe that was actually in, and I just like never had brows, so I was always jealous of people who did. Now you see with the clear gel, I can just like whip it on because I don't even know where it's going. All right. Like I said, I just call this Spanx for my brows. It just kind of like tames them and whoosh, puts them together. Love it. So that's brows. I feel like your gel or a pencil, like I said, ideally we'd probably have both, but we're going for a minimalist routine here. So I think pick the one that you like best. Do the most complicated brow first. Amen. Yes. And then also in terms of bacteria, keeping things clean, just kind of sharpen that a couple times a week, right? I mean, there's not too much on your brow, but just to kind of keep it clean. Next up, we have mascara. Oh, clean beauty mascara. Literally things nightmares are made of. So Beauty Counter has 2 different mascaras. I thought I had a lengthening. That's how often I use it. I probably had to throw it away. I do like their volumizing mascara. It's not my favorite mascara on the planet. You got to warm this guy up. So he's going under my armpit for the moment. Here's a brand I do really like. I like Tarte's Opening Act Lash Primer and the Tarte Surfer Curl. Tarte brand is like, some of their products I would say are pretty clean, some of them aren't, so you kind of have to look. Wait, what are thick thighs for? I missed when that comment came in.
Thick thighs are to warm up the mascara, but I actually had a question. You said Tarte Surfer Curl, and what was the other one?
It is still the Tarte one, and it is Opening Act. Okay, let's see if you guys can see this. See the little container? It says 6 months. So to be honest with you, that's why I buy the travel size. I don't know. I feel like they run out faster. I'm like, probably if I really time how long it takes me to go through a big thing of mascara, because I don't wear it every day, you know. So I would say, you know, just try to beat the system. If you got a travel size I can try, that's what I do. All right, lots of tips for mascara. Ready? The technical, like, I feel like everybody says this, start at the base and wiggle out, right? That's so smart to have a similar size. You know, I really thought so. When I came up with that hack, I was like, why have I not done this my whole life? That was about 1.5 years ago or so. And then use a vertical brush to kind of just like brush on the bottom lashes. Now, here's the thing. I was a girl that used to get eyelash extensions. Like, I love big lashes. I feel like everybody kind of likes different things. There is somewhat of a rule that I don't follow about what your lashes should look like. I don't want to should on that, but did I write it down here? Where did I put that? Okay. You want volumizing for big, bold brows. So you kind of just like want more to kind of balance. And then you want lengthening for thin brows. And that's kind of like according to Christy Coleman, I'm just like, the bigger, the bolder, the more, the lengthen, like give me it all. Give me all of the lashes. And my mom always taught me just to put it on the top if you want a Bambi look, which I kind of feel is what I'm talking about today. So I usually just put it on the top when I want to look like Bambi. Okay, so some tips for application. Look down when you're applying so that you can get your wand close to the root of your lashes as possible. And then make sure you're applying it underneath your lash versus on top. If you put it on top, it can weigh your lashes down and kind of make them more straight, right? Of course, you can use an eyelash curler, but if you don't have an eyelash curler, or if you feel like the eyelash curler doesn't always like work, try to make sure you're applying it really underneath. For an eyelash curler, you kind of want to take it and then bend it up. Freaks me out. I do not like eyeballs. I'm not looking at the screen because I don't. Nobody needs to see anybody's eyeball looking like that. So clamp it, pull it out, and turn it up. And that's going to help you curl your lash. I forget to curl my lash 99% of the time, but it does help. Okay, what else? You can also gently lift your lashes upward with a finger after your mascara is applied to kind of help them curl. So while it's still a little bit wet, of course, you're going to get a little bit on your finger, but that can help you with applying. And if you're finding that your mascara is running, it's not even necessarily your mascara. It could be like if your concealer is too oily, if you have too much eye cream on, if your lids are oily. So it's not always the mascara. Anti-clumping tips. So what kind of, are you using Beauty Counter? What kind are you using?
No, right now I have the Tarte Amazonian Clay one.
Oh, I don't know if I've tried that one, but I feel like I like a lot of their mascara. So you're getting clumping. Are you getting it like on your, are you doing more than one coat?
Yes.
I think try maybe one coat to start. Or
Okay.
sometimes what I'll do is I'll do one full coat and then maybe I'll do a second coat, but just like on the tips to kind of just
Okay,
make the tips a little bit more.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep. Sometimes I feel like if it's too much product, like it'll just start sticking together. This is a brand new mascara too. Isn't this the worst, like putting mascara on when people are staring at you? You guys like feel my pain of the like literally there's nothing I hate more than putting my mascara on Instagram. All right. And then I also like to take the tip where it usually has more product and kind of like use that to pull it up. Katie, there you are. All right. Yeah, I'm like afraid my husband's gonna walk in any given second and the tantrum is gonna continue. So I should probably hurry myself along here. So like ideally for me, I do like to do 2 coats. I do one full coat and then I like to like let it dry. Maybe I put my blush on and then I come back and just like do the tips. So that's like my little tip of trying to like, come on, a little higher, a little more. Yeah, I have to use my curler. My eyes are so small and it helps to open them. That's a good point. The curling can really be useful. I think especially if you have any type of like curl to your hair, it might hold the curl a little bit better of the of your eyelash, of the curler. I don't know what I was saying. Now I will say I remember I used to have like a heated one. That was a little scary, like having heated by your eye. I don't know. I recommend that. That was like back in my prime when I was buying like every makeup product that there could be. Oh, right. Anything else? What about like eyes, brows, eyes, anything there? Any questions? I always think of like my polished look as like 3 things. My like face, my eyes, and now we got to add some color. Okay. Oh, I feel like this is like a good look usually for me. All right, so blush is really what can make you look alive, right? Like when your whole face is just one color, you need a little bit of a flush or something to kind of just make you look like you're, you know, just, oh, I just ran through the meadow to come see you. So the best way to find your natural looking color is to actually pinch your cheeks and then kind of see what color that is. So you could like pinch your cheeks a little bit and see what color you turn. I don't even know what I really turn. I don't follow color rules. Like I said, I just wear whatever I want to wear. But that can be one, especially if you're just like trying to pick out like one color option. Let's see. So what do I have here? I have Dates, which is like my warmer shade because I've got my warmer shirt on. So lots of ways to apply your cheek too. Now again, I'm talking about powder. I do have the cream blushers here that if anybody wants to see any of those that we can talk about too. But when you have your powder, the typical way to apply it is to smile and then just find like your apple of your cheek, dab it on there, and you can kind of bring it up towards your like temple area, just along your cheekbone. One of the tips, especially if it's a new product, you don't know how much is really going to come on, you can like see, like I tap it, okay, I'm going to tap it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then see what it looks like on your hand. Okay, so if it starts like, if you're not really sure, you're like, dang, every time I put on that blush, it's like, hello, and I gotta like mess with it. Try just dabbing it on your hands and play with it a little bit, especially if it's a new color. Also, what can happen with powder blushes is you can start to get a layer of oil over them from like putting it on your cheeks. So if that happens, you can just take a piece of tape and put it over the top and like rip the oil off, and you've got new blush again. It's even good again to pull off the bacteria. You can spray this with like an alcohol solution. Just Pinterest that, because I don't know why I didn't write that in my document, but you can Pinterest to figure out like just what you can put. So smile. I like to like lift my face, so I like to go up my cheeks. That's also a tip for mature skin, is you might not actually even want to start necessarily on your apple. Maybe you want to lift your face a little bit and to go higher up on your cheekbone. Now let's say, oh my Lanta, I just did the rip off with the oil, so it's going to be like a new color, and I dabbed it my 3 times and I put it on my face and it was like I was a clown. So what you could do, take whatever you use to apply your foundation. So whether you used a brush or maybe you have a concealer ball, and just like knock it down. So like if you have too much color on your cheek, take whatever tool you use to apply your foundation and just kind of like knock down the color a little bit. Does that make sense? So depending on who you are, some people will say that powder is more versatile and like stays and you can get a better look with it. Some people will say that cream products are easier to work with. I personally really do like both. I think if you're someone who's a minimalist and you like having like one product that can do a lot of things, a cream blusher is actually better for you, because you can put it on your cheeks. You could take a little bit, you can make like a, put a little bit on your eyes. With the Beauty Counter one, I can't say for all of them because I know that some can be a little bit drying. You can use this on your lips. It's literally hydrating enough to use it like a lip product. So if you do like to have, I like that for like the beach, you know, especially if let's say you're like going to the, you know, when we travel again and can do things. If you're going to the beach and you're going straight to like a happy hour or dinner or something, I'll throw something like this in my bag with like makeup wipes and just be like, all right, I'm gonna like clean off all the sand and then just add like a little color to me so that I look alive. So this is like that's like one of the benefits of these. This bronze glow stick, oh, that's all I have left? No. All right, gotta add this to my order. I use this for like literally everything too, especially in the summer. I put it along my hairline to give myself a little bit of a bronze glow. I'll use it on my cheekbones, kind of like a contour. I like this for me as a lip color, even though it's a little brown. Some people probably wouldn't like it. This is also one that my mom and grandma own. They really like. My mom also stole my hibiscus. I bought a new one for this because I was like, I don't even remember what that color looks like. Where is it? Here it is. So this is kind of like the pinky cream blusher product. So I think it just depends, you know, if you use a powder or if you use one of these. I do think that this is like pretty easy to clean too, because you could just like clean around it real quick, kind of like a lipstick. One thing I will say is that I don't necessarily think that like you want to mix cream and powders if you're putting it on the same area. So like now that I put the powder blush on, like I wouldn't want to take a cream blusher and put that on top. If I layer anything, I'll do the bronzer like underneath, and then I can use a powder blush but I have to use a really light hand and I try not to overlap them too much. Okay. And then finally, we have lips. So there's lip glosses, there's tinted lip balms, lip sheers, lip sticks, lots of different options for lips. I thought we would talk about lip gloss since this is just kind of like a super basic look. Does anybody have like a favorite beauty counter lip color? I don't know. I think these are some of the old colors. This is like one of my favorite things. And I was like, I can't get rid of this. Like, even though all the colors are like, I think they're different now. I don't even know. I really like Rosewood, or Fig was my favorite. Beauty counter almost died to me the day they discontinued that. Peony is a really pretty pink if you like pinks. I think it's, where is it? I think it's this one here. So it's a really nice like light pink shade. Bare Shimmer is one that just kind of looks good on everyone. Sounds like it says, just a light little shimmer. So even with lip gloss, I'll use one of mine. I'm just gonna literally pick out of the hat. This is like my container of Charlotte. You're allowed to play with these ones. Oh, Fig, huh, very funny. So when you apply lip gloss, Peony, Fig and Peony, one for fall, one for summer. Yes, I agree. Lilac Shimmer, oh, I love the Lilac Shimmer. That doesn't come back. I don't know who's making decisions at Beauty Counter, but they're not consulting me. So when you do your lip gloss, you want to start at like your Cupid's bow, so like at the top of your lips, and you don't want to go all the way out to the side. So if you think about lip gloss, it's very like liquidy, right? So it's going to move around. So you don't, it's going to like expand further than where you're actually putting it. Does that make sense? So it's embarrassing too when I put lip stuff on because my lips are so small. I'm just laughing at myself. So I put it, I don't know, what is that? Like 2/3 on my lips maybe. And then I just use my lips to kind of move it around. So again, you don't need to go like all the way to the corners. And then I always kind of like slide down because I don't like when it has like a straight line across. Some people do. I see people do it that way on social media. I'm like, not what I would do. Also, I think I forgot to mention this. I don't know if you guys have any of the makeup wipes, but a lot of people think of them as like removing at the ends. They're actually really helpful even when you're putting your makeup on. I find that they're kind of a little bit more helpful when you're doing eyeshadows, but you can actually take a Q-tip and just like dip it in there and kind of like use that to like, you know, if you get a little mascara around, you poke yourself in the eye or something, you can just use your Q-tip to move that stuff around and kind of get that off. And that's your lips. I think that's pretty much everything that I prepared, but I'm happy to answer any other questions. Was this helpful? I hope it was helpful. Yes, let's see, nodding. That's exciting. Oh, yay. I mean, I just like to talk about makeup and do my makeup. Anybody doing anything fun for Sunday? Oh, wait, let me stop the recording because then this is where I just like start blabbing on and on.